What's up, everybody? Today we're doing something a little bit different. Today I've got a special guest. Instead of cooking and doing reviews, I've got somebody with me today, and we're going to have a real talk about keto and a low carb journey, about lowering blood sugar and all that good stuff. And I know her name is Tammy Gorsuch, and I know her through a program called Virta. And we're not affiliated with Virta. You know, we don't get paid to talk about Virta, but it is a good program that's changed both of our lives. And so just want to welcome Tammy and get started off by asking a simple question. What's your backstory? How did you get started with all this, and how's it going?
Well, weight started really creeping up, and it got to where it was really creeped up, but that really wasn't worrying me too much because I was still really active and able to do the stuff I wanted to do. But then when my A1C started going up, and I have relatives who are morbidly obese and type 2 diabetic kind of thing, and the troubles that it's caused them, and then my aunts and uncles with the strokes and the heart attacks and the dead kind of thing, it just got my attention. And also my primary care, when I went in, he said, you've kind of crept up now, you're pre-diabetic, we need to turn this around. And I'm like, okay. So he says, cut out the carbs, eat more proteins and things like that. So without Virta, with just him telling me that, I did cut back, but I was thinking cut back on carbs meant like not so much like, going to McDonald's and getting the French fries and things like that. I was still eating vegetables and fruit and breads that made out at home from whole grains and things like that. And it really wasn't changing anything, but it hadn't been quite the year to go back to see my PCP yet, when Banner Aetna sent an email describing Virta, and I was reading it, read the information, Googled it, read the Google reviews, and since the company pays for it 100%, I figured, price is right, and no drugs or anything like that, so what harm could it do? So I signed up, and it's been a miracle, no short, not short of a miracle, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good backstory. I appreciate you sharing that. Hey, what is your biggest piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's just starting out doing this lifestyle? What advice would you recommend to people?
Be open-minded and be creative. It's not, boring at all. So just, open your mind to the fact that there's, I don't know where people think all they can eat is a piece of chicken and some broccoli. There is so much food available, and that's in a Virta approved list. Especially, I have seafood allergies. So if you can eat seafood and pork, I can't eat pork because of an intolerance also. So if you can eat seafood, if you can eat pork, if you can eat beef, if you can eat chicken, if you can eat eggs, I mean, there's just so much out there. There's no reason to ever get bored. And then also, even before the creativity, work with your coach and your provider. They are your lifeline, and really work with them.
Yeah, that's great. Talking about being open-minded and learning new things, man, I tell you, the discovery part, the education part is a big hurdle for a lot of people. And we do have great recipes. Man, there's so many things out there. And speaking of recipes, what is your favorite recipe that you like to cook, that you brag about, you share with your friends? What's your favorite recipe?
Favorite? Well, I'm here in the Southwest, so of course we favor Mexican food. We favor, spicy stuff. And it's all pretty much a combination of the same things. Is, you've got your meat, tortilla of some sort, cheese, onions, lettuce, that kind of stuff, tomatoes. But I make my own tortillas out of eggs. I make a copycat egg life wrap. And so I can make my tortillas from that for making burritos and enchiladas. Yeah, green chili. We eat a lot of green chilies out here too. So green chili casserole is one of my favorites. Take either, if you want to use beef, chicken, rabbit, whatever you've got, and either grill it, broil it, whatever do, just get it nice and tender. And you can even skip the tortillas. You just put the meat in and make I make a green chili sauce out of the Hatch green chilies and some sour cream and some cream cheese, and just blend those things really good. I got a big, like a not 1 horsepower, but I got a pretty good size immersion blender that'll just easy work out of that. But make a green sauce out of that, and take the meat, just layer some meat down, put some sauce on it, put some your favorite cheeses, whether it's cheddar, Monterey Jack, or pepper jack, anything like that. Put a little bit more sauce, a little more meat, a little more, and then I like to top with Parmesan, because as you bake it, it'll brown. And then at the end, throw it under the broiler for just a moment to just get a nice crisp on it. And it makes a really nice casserole, and you don't even have to use a the fake tortillas with the eggs or anything like that.
Oh man, that sounds good. I know hatch chilies are hard to find around here, but I might have to round up some and give that recipe a try. It might be a video in the near future. Now, Tammy, I know that you're all into being self-supportive, try to raise your own food as much as possible, and you raise rabbits and stuff like that. How did you get involved in raising rabbits and all the things that you're, doing there?
Well, I started, even though I was raised in the Navy and we lived on base and things like that, a lot of times in my high school, ninth grade, we're stationed at Miramar, California, and I got involved in FFA in high school. And so I started working with agriculture and really, really liked it. And then in 1979, I came out here to Arizona, and my mother's got property. She had property at that time and was wrapping up my senior year of high school. And still, I went at FFA all 4 years. And so I was able to have hogs and stuff in her backyard there. Then when I graduated high school in 80, I got a job on a dairy feed calf. So to make a long story short, I got involved in agriculture as a teenager. And we farmed, even after I got married, we had a farm. And we moved here to Superior in 98 and left 5 acres behind with cattle and hogs and stuff. And then it was okay, but I started getting lonesome for homegrown food, homegrown meat, because we're on less than a quarter acre inside town limits. So I was reading about homesteading and things like that. And I came across this doomsday prepper kind of guy and rabbits as backyard livestock. And I thought, that's pretty interesting. So talked to him, checked it out, whatever. So in 2012, we started raising rabbits for meat. Started out with 3 rabbits, and then pretty soon wound up with a few hundred of them, because I not only raising for ourselves, but selling to 4-H kids. And then also Nick was buying in bulk from me, kind of thing. And so we've been raising rabbit as livestock, backyard livestock, since 2012. And then of course you start hanging out with these prepper people. And then came in the aquaponics, and so got tilapia out there. Even though I can't eat fish, I grow it. And then we raise quail, and we got chickens too. So we developed our little nonprofit organization, an educational program called Superior Self-Sufficiency. So that allows me to abide by the town regulations, because we're not allowed to have chickens and rabbits unless they are raised in connection with a sponsored educational program. And so we have our own sponsored educational program, and people in town are also able to take advantage of that.
That's fascinating. As someone who's never eaten rabbit, and I don't even know where you get rabbit, but for somebody that's never tried rabbit, would you say that, are you going to tell me it tastes like chicken?
No, that would be an insult to the rabbit. It's a neutral flavor. Since I raise domestic, I don't go out shooting these stringy old jackrabbits kind of thing. Right. These have been pampered their entire lives. So by the time they get about 10 weeks old, this particular breed is about 5 pounds. They've never had to chase or be chased or anything like that. So they're plump and they're tender. The meat, it's all white meat, and it takes on the flavor of whatever you're cooking it with. So, and there's no gamey flavor to it. So, if I'm cooking it with cumin and chili powder and things like that, it's going to have a little bit of a spice to it. If I'm doing it with something that's a little on the sweeter side, it's going to be sweeter, whatever herbs I cook it with. Or if I just throw it out in the smoker, it's going to take on that smoke kind of thing. So it's a very neutral flavor. Anything that you can put chicken or pork into, you can put rabbit in it. And same thing with ground beef. So I grind it, and I'll throw a little, because I make my own tallow out of the beef trimmings. So I'll throw a little tallow in it, because it's very lean meat. So if I want to make a burger, if I'm going to be feeding these burgers to other people, I use a little bit of that kitchen bouquet. It's a browning liquid. It doesn't really add a whole lot of flavor, but if I put it in there and soak it, then it looks like burger.
Well, I don't know if I ever get around to trying rabbit, but if I'm ever in your neck of the woods, I'll stop by and let you fix me up something. How's that? Hey, I know you're a woman after my own heart, because you like to smoke briskets and things like that. Well, I know where I'm from, we're all about pork. I'm in the Carolinas, and it's pulled pork. And my sister-in-law, I know she lived in Texas for a while, and she said in Texas it's all about the brisket, and I know you enjoy doing the brisket. So tell me a little bit about your journey with smoking meat. How do you like doing that, or why do you do that, or just talk about that for a second.
I'm in love with the art. Yeah, I have the stick burner arrogance. I admit it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't have a Traeger. I call those, an easy bake oven kind of thing, because
Yeah.
I manage the fire and the chemistry with, because there's a physical chemical reaction that goes on with that fire to get that smoke just right. And it to me that's the love. It's just making
Right.
sure that that is good. So whoever puts that in their mouth can taste every bit of love that went into that,
Well, Tammy, one thing I noticed about you is that in the forums, you are brutally honest. You don't sugarcoat anything, and I know that I appreciate that because I want to hear the truth. This is life or death for a lot of people that are dealing with type 2 diabetes, and we don't need to be fed a bunch of fluff and stuff. We need to hear the truth. And I've had in my last interview, I talked with Denise, and she pointed out some things in my life, and we all have blind spots, and I understand that, and sometimes that's not well received. But and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming that you do that because you have a genuine care for people and you want to see them succeed. Am I right?
Yeah, I never want to intentionally hurt anybody's feelings, but the truth sometimes hurt, and that's what I've been a nurse since 1997, and recently in the last few years, I've done these patient satisfaction surveys, and those things have caused more harm to patients because the doctors and the clinics and things like that, they get reimbursed by Medicare and all these other things based on positive surveys. So if your doctor tells you you've got to lose weight, you need to do this, you need to do that, stop fooling yourself, stop doing this, and gives you the truth, then the patient's right. Oh, he called me fat or whatever, and so then they get a bad review, and then that reflects, then the organization that that doctor's part of gets bad reviews. So now they're just, but they're starting to turn it back around. Finally, I'm glad, but for a while there, yeah, they were just, so whatever it is that you're doing, just keep doing whatever you're comfortable with, just keep doing. And people are getting sicker and sicker and sicker because they keep getting sugar coated stuff because nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings because they'll get a bad review. Well, I think that doesn't do people any good. I mean, I'm not going to, again, I don't want to intentionally hurt anybody's feelings, but if they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing and then wondering why they're not getting good results, well, somebody needs to tell them, and politely. And I know sometimes my coworkers have referred to me as Sheldon because sometimes it just comes out. I don't, sometimes it's just the information is there without the emotional filter that maybe should come in. And I am working on that, but it's just.
And another thing, Tammy, I noticed about you is, man, you post some of the best recipes, and you got the pictures and stuff. Man, you need to do a cookbook or something one day. But I love looking at the pictures, and you post the micros and all that stuff, and you've got the full package for people. And of course, it may have rabbit meat or something like that in it, but you still share what you're cooking, and it inspires me to try new things. So where do you come up with this stuff?
I just scribble down. Well, a lot of times what I'll do is, unless I'm going to make something that I, like make a lot, but if I see what I got in the fridge or look what's growing out in the yard, I'm going to go pick or whatever, I just Google, I'll put and I'll say chicken because you try to search rabbit, you don't get a whole lot of recipes come up except for, the stews and stuff. And I'm not a big
Right.
stew person, but basically just Google what I've got ingredients on hand for, and then put the word recipe afterwards. They come up or I'll throw keto in there too. And then, oh, okay. I got that. So I could do that. That looks good, kind of thing.
So what do you think is some of the biggest pitfalls in the lifestyle that we're in? What are some of the little gotcha traps that people fall into, do you think, coming into this?
Lying to themselves. I had to at first because I love vegetables. And so really get honest with myself, use that scale better as far as, because I could sit down and eat, half a gallon of broccoli, but I mean, maybe not quite a half a gallon, but I could eat a whole lot of broccoli in one sitting. And that's a Virta approved food, but we got to watch total carbs, and that it means quantity as well. So being honest, a lot of people just fail to be honest with themselves with what they really are consuming. And when you see the pictures that some people are posting, and it's like, I've done good to keep my mouth shut too, keep my fingers shut, because it's like, that's I don't think you've read the instructions on this one kind of thing, because they rationalize. And so that's one thing I had to learn to do with myself, is to, be brutally honest with myself. It not maybe day one, but it probably took me about day 5 to figure it out, because it took a while for my numbers, the glucose to go down, ketones to come up, because I was eyeballing my vegetables and things. Oh, like I didn't get, of course, at first I wasn't really interested in weight loss so much, but it was, the reversing the diabetes. But now that I've been losing the weight, I'm like, but people that have been obese, morbidly obese for years and years and years, and you see they're on like day 43, and they're all upset because they're plateauing or on a stall. And it's like, no, it takes a while. I guess the pitfall is expecting too much too soon. It took years to get to where we were.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get corrected in a month. It might not get completely corrected in a year. It takes time to undo the damage that we've done.
Man, lying to yourself. I can relate to that for various reasons. One, as a person who's dealt with addiction, I was always lying to myself, saying I don't have a problem with drinking, or I don't have a problem with this or that. And then even when it comes to my health, denial about being obese, denial about having an issue with food. And then even when I started in my keto journey, I would put in my carb manager. I would lie to the stupid app and my portion size or whatever it was I was eating to make the numbers line up. And I thought, well, that's crazy. Why am I doing that? So I understand that, and I definitely can relate to it. Another thing I noticed about your post and some things you do is how you meal prep and you prepare for the upcoming week, and you seem to have a system about that. Would you like to discuss how you go about prepping for the week and how you do that?
Because I've been doing this for years, because with working, being married, and we used to have 4 kids at home and the whole thing. And so when you got 6 people in your family and a farm to run, you don't just come in one afternoon and go, and of course we're out in the middle of nowhere too. Yeah, I think we'll just run on down to the store and go grab such and such, whatever. So I've been cooking meals, and used to do crock pot meals, things like that. So like right now, like today I did a bunch of the egg tortilla wraps, and then I did 4 stufflers. And so, I got all my stuff blended up to make the tortillas, and then put it in the pan, and then set the timer for, a minute and a half while I go swept a corner of the kitchen, that kind of thing. And so I'm back and forth with the timer, making food. Tomorrow I will make some sort of a meat dish. I'll make some meat dish for tomorrow. But that's pretty much what it is. In the morning, when I'm working from home remotely, I start, my shift starts at 6, but I still get up about 3:15 or so. And like I'll get my vegetables prepared and things like that, so that way I can go ahead and work on the food during breaks, because we're supposed to walk away from our computer for about 5 minutes every hour. Mm-hmm. And so I take a little break, and I'll go work on making something. And so my meal prep for the week, a lot of it's just mental, kind of knowing what I want to do. And I write it down. I take notes all over the place. I have notes for this, a shopping list, what I want to do this week, and what I'm going to do today, kind of stuff. I check stuff off, but that's kind of what prepping is for me. I'll and then tonight I'm going to make a whole bunch of, and thanks for that, I call it that 4-burner dash waffle maker. Tonight I'll probably make a dozen of the chaffles and mini chaffles, so that we'll have, something to smear some cream cheese on, or put some eggs on this weekend, kind of thing. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I have a thing, just a mental plan, and then some days I'll make a whole bunch. Like today I made chaffle or stufflers. Tomorrow I'll work on making a meat dish kind of thing. Sunday he takes me out. We usually go eat somewhere local Sunday. He'll take me out for lunch, and then we'll have leftovers for supper. Oh, breakfast. I eat fried eggs. I don't really like baked eggs, because I just don't like the texture. So and that's easy to fry. Have a chaffle, throw some fried egg on top of it and whatever. But for him, same thing. I'll make, a frittata, make a bunch of get a bunch of vegetables, about 14, 15 eggs, and then that'll make 6 breakfasts. And so, and he doesn't mind eating the same breakfast every day for, but I vary it up. I don't make the same combination every week kind of thing, but he's just so grateful that somebody will cook something for him that, he'll eat the same frittata every day and the same lunch every day until it runs out, or I'll mix and match stuff kind of thing. But yeah, I don't spend an entire day prepping. I do a few hours in the morning while I'm doing some other stuff, set my timers, and then of course, if I'm smoking meat, that prep starts 3 days before kind of thing. You gotta trim the meat, you gotta rub it. And then a couple hours before I'm gonna actually start the smoke, you got to get out and get the fire going because I make my own charcoal. So you got to get that going first, and then out there every 20, 30 minutes, putting a new stick on, kind of thing.
Tammy, I appreciate you so much for being on my channel. Guys, listen, this is just Keto Real Talk. We're just trying to help people along the journey by sharing things that we've learned the hard way, I guess. That's why I post recipes and stuff. I really just want to show you that if I can do it, you know what, you can do it. Tammy has done a really good job on reversing her type 2 diabetes. I've lost over 130 pounds. My A1C is way down. My numbers are all pointing in the right direction. It's just a testimony to what can happen if you stay faithful to the program. But hey, until next time, go out there, fight for your life, eat some good food, and may the Lord bless you.